Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Herlina Laila. I want to share you about the short story is the title Louisa, Please Come Home by Shirley Jackson, 1960. In the short story have many characters. The main characters in the short story is Louisa Tatter, 19 years old. And then Mr. Tatter is a Louisa father. And then Mrs. Tatter is a Louisa mother. And then Carol is the Louisa sisters. And then Paul is Louisa neighbor. And then the last, Mrs. Peacock is the owner of the room Louisa lives. Louisa, a 19 years old girl, she planned to run away for many months, thinking of her plan very careful because if she messed up, she would have another chance. Louisa bought train ticket to get to Croydon and bought a new jacket so she could blend in and avoid being cold. After Croydon, she fled to Amityville and then to Chandler, where she met Miss Peacock and rented out a house and a pawn job. She changed her identity by changing her name to Lois Tyler and making up a story about saving enough money to come to Chandler. When the summer was over, she was planning to go to business school, and she stayed in Chandler for 3 years. One day, Louisa met her old neighbor Paul, who took her back to her family. When they got there, her family didn't recognize her because before that, Paul had brought 2 other girls before her, trying for the reward money. She felt very sad and regret for doing something wrong. In the conflict in the short story is Louisa ran away because she thinks her sister hates her and thinks she's gonna ruin her wedding. And the setting in the short story there are the first Louisa real home is in Rockville, and then the second in Croydon, and then the third in a room in Mrs. Peacock house, Primrose Street, Chandler City. The theme in the short story, in my opinion, is people never appreciate what they have when everything is gone, regret being a friend. In the short story have many analyzing plot. There are orientation, rising action, climax, politic action, and resolution. Orientation in the short story is when Louisa listened to her mother's voice over the radio. Louisa, she said, please come home. It's been 3 years since we saw you. We all miss you. We want you back again. Louisa, please come home. And then rising action in the short story is once a year Louisa heard that on the anniversary of the day Louisa ran away, and then she read the newspaper story. Louisa Tatter disappeared 1 year ago, or 2 years, or 3. She used to wait for June 20 as if it were her birthday. And then the climax in the short story is Louisa ran away from her family. She was running for the day before her sister's wedding. She stayed in the chandelier for 3 years, and then her family looking her used radio and a newspaper. One day, Louisa found her old neighbor, Paul, who took her back to her family. When they got there, but her family didn't recognize her. And then the following action have a 3 following action in short story. There is the first, Louisa went home with Paul. Her family didn't recognize her. The second is, Paul had broke 2 other girls before that, trying for the reward money. And the third is, Louisa dad gave her $20 to get home, but she had it to Paul for all of his help. And resolution in the short story is, Louisa felt very sad because her family didn't recognize her. She deeply regrets making the wrong decision. She should have been telling her family where she was. Okay, in the short story, we can get many moral message, and I have the moral message in the short story. There is, don't make important life decisions too quickly, because you never know what could happen or who you could end up hurting. Okay guys, maybe that's all about my short story. I say sorry if I make mistake for you all. And the last I say wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. See you. Bye bye.